What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so before I get into this video, I want to give a big shout out to the brother Brendan Olson for the $15 donation via the Cash App. Much respect to him for once again showing love to Too Raw for TV. All right, so in this particular video, I want to make an argument for the 2011 Mavericks having arguably one of the best, if not perhaps the best bench and one of the best supporting casts ever for a championship team. You know, as the years go on and our memories of that series and of the sequences go into the rear view of our subconscious and conscious, I guess. As our memories recede of that series and of that great year by the Dallas Mavericks, oftentimes we can discover how strong narratives are when it comes to defining how we remember things. Because the narrative was Dirk Nowitzki put that team on his back and carried them to a championship, which throughout much of that playoff run, he did. You know, during the playoffs, he averaged 27.7 points, over 8 rebounds, over 2 assists, shot 48.5% from the floor, 46% from 3, and 94% from the line throughout the entire playoffs. But if I recall correctly, in the finals, Dirk only shot 41% from the floor. And there were times when Dallas went through some scoring slumps against the super Miami Heat team, no matter what LeBron says about not having played on any super teams in his life. But in the finals, it really wasn't just Dirk at all. It was other pieces stepping up. Jason Kidd, by that point in time, was not the same Jason Kidd from the Dallas Mavericks, Phoenix Suns, or Brooklyn Nets, then New Jersey Nets years. But he still had enough left in the tank at age 38 to still be very effective. Remember, he played great defense on LeBron James in that series. I think during the playoffs, he averaged something like 9 points and 7 assists. And by that point in time, he had developed a very reliable three-pointer. I remember usually he was at the top of the key. He had to be, he usually open because the defense still would rather have him do that, shoot a three, which if he misses, hey, we had a good chance of getting the ball back rather than letting him do his thing, which is facilitate and get other guys involved. And then that's really going into his strengths. But by that point in time, Jason Kidd was becoming a really good three-point shooter, which opened things up for the Miami Heat offense. When that shot was going down, then the Dallas Mavericks was able to really be more, what's what I'm looking for? It really opened the possibilities up for the Dallas Mavericks offense. Then of course on that team you had a player, Tyson Chandler, who had, I think the year before, won Defensive Player of the Year. And Tyson Chandler had, at that point in time, he was close enough to his prime. He still had the foot speed to be effective in the paint, altering shots. I don't remember Tyson Chandler being a supreme prolific shot blocker, but I remember him blocking some shots. But I remember him being more of a shot alterer, and he was a great defender. Now, remember, this was the very, very end of the era where traditional bigs were still being valued. This was right around the time when analytics was starting to take over sports. It already had changed and transformed baseball. It was doing it with the NFL. It was getting ready to do it with the NBA. So that's one of the last traditional teams. So Tyson Chandler was there. Brendan Hayward came off the bench. Brendan Hayward was a great collegiate player for North Carolina. Remember, that team also had, if I remember correctly, that team had, what's his name? The Matrix, Sean Marion. Sean Marion wasn't the same guy, but in Phoenix, of course, he was a stat stuffer, 20 points, 10, 11 rebounds, 3 or 4 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks, dunks. Had that weird 3-pointer like he was pitching a basket into the corner, pitching bales of hay into the corner of a barn or something. But it would go down at a reasonable rate. And he was able to guard 1 through 4 for the Dallas Mavericks. And that team had Deshaun Stevenson, who was effective for much of playoffs, not as effective in the playoffs. And remember, if I remember correctly, he was benched for, of all players, J.J. Barrera, who was able to secure a big payoff for a contract for the Minnesota Timberwolves based off of his effectiveness, his efficacy at being effective against none other than LeBron Ramon James in that series. LeBron Ramon James of all people. But J.J. Barrera became a star for his exploits in that series. Then, of course, you had Peja Stojakovic, who's come off the bench and busting threes and stretching the offense. And, you know, when you look at all these different pieces, plus the exploits of Dirk, then that team had Corey Brewer, who was a decent player, you know what I'm saying, a good 6-man type player. In the regular season, I think that team even had Caron Butler, but I don't think he played in the playoffs. I think it might have been injuries or something, but they were a deep team and a good team. And they played good overall defense, not suffocating defense like the 96 Bulls or the 89-90 Pistons or 2004 Pistons. It wasn't that type of defense. It was more like the defense that they were all on one page, all one accord, all, communication, knowing where the other guy was, knowing where their man is at all time, being totally in tune on defense. Something this Dallas Mavericks team in 2024 could have listened to if they maybe watched some tape and took pointers. I don't want to hear any more about Luka Doncic being better than Dirk Nowitzki. I don't care about stats. I don't care about none of that stuff. Until he wins a championship, he ain't better than Dirk. I'm sorry. He's just not. You know what I'm saying? Sorry, Luka fans. You can get mad about that. Do got to win a championship. Then I'll say maybe he's better than Dirk. But, yeah, in that finals, it wasn't just Dirk, man. You know what I'm saying? And that was a great performance. It was a team made up of one star in Dirk, obviously, but that team had some definite pieces of guys who had either been stars before or semi-stars, superstars, all-stars, veterans, all high IQ players too. And Peja Stojakovic retired after that series. His back was just bothering him too much. But one of the things I remember is that it was that series that Peja sort of atoned for this perception that he was a choke artist. I remember him hitting some big shots down the stretch in that series. Now, I remember, though, his shooting was a little bit spotty because of his back problems. But he did hit some timely shots for them when it mattered. And, yeah, I think that 2011 Mavericks team arguably has one of the best benches in NBA history. So just want to put it out there. Tell me what you guys think.